Alright guys, welcome back to my run. Mission here. Small mission from last time. Let's see. Here we go.
And I haven't even begun to touch national security. You look at Joe Biden, inherited peace and prosperity across the world. Now, we have the biggest war in Europe since World War II and the worst war in the Middle East in 50 years. We need peace through strength. We need a commander-in-chief that defends America. All right, well, it is believe in prosperity. Apparently, it was Jeff Cruz, I want to thank you very much, and God bless you, my friend. Thank you, Mark. We'll be right back.
Everything we build is from the ground up. Every great idea, every crazy idea, every next idea, everything we see, everything you feel if you drive it. We put everything we have to our trucks, so you get everything out of them.
Got it.
Ram, trucks are what we do.
During the Ram Start Something New sales event, get 4,500 cash allowance on the purchase of virtually all 2024 Ram 1500 trucks.
At Lockdown, we believe that
primary target on screen.
is a mark. We apply the
We got an unknown on sensor.
Midnight, wash, and apply the finishing touches. Our signature monochrome jeans have dynamic stretch to provide flexibility and a comfortable fit. And we handcraft every pair with a care and quality you can only get from true family business.
How might I help?
Founder of Monochrome, and making incredibly comfortable jeans is our passion.
Parents and grandparents, the 2024 Kids Guide to President Trump is here and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets free membership to the 1776 Kids Club that's packed with patriotic benefits kids love. Order now at freetrumpguide.com. That's freetrumpguide.com.
At Domes, we know one thing and one thing only: facts. Strange facts from weekend chores to boat facts, doing your favorite hobbies. We even know quarterbacks. Just the experts. Back in the league for more than 100 years. Available extraordinary.
I was just doing shit. It was the worst thing. What was fun? I was sad. I was diagnosed with rhabdomyolysis.
Whoa.
Once we got the first initial hit, it was just straight tears, sickness in your stomach. Just don't want to get up out of bed. That's it. Well, we got to look on the bright side. Tell me what the bright side of
Internal
childhood
damage.
cancer is.
It's a long road. It's hard. But St. Jude has gotten us through it.
St. Jude Children's Research
I hear ya.
Hospital works day after day to find cures and save the lives of children with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Thanks to generous donors like you, families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food. So they can focus on helping their child.
Without all those donations, St. Jude would not be able to do all of the exceptional work that they do.
For just
Roger
$19
that.
a month,
Firing on target.
continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need.
No matter if it's a big business or just the grandmother that donates once a month, they are changing people's lives. That's a big deal.
Join with your debit or credit card right now, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt that you can proudly wear to show your support.
Our family is forever grateful for donations big and small because it's completely changed our lives and it's given us a second chance. St. Jude's not going to stop until every single kid gets that chance to walk out of the North Hospital cancer-free.
Please don't wait. Call or go online or scan the QR code below right now.
The crazy thing about GLP-1s through growth is that my cravings have completely disappeared. I'm not quite sure how something that's just a little tiny prick can be so powerful in so many different ways.
It started at
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take feudal magnesium. But most of all, feudal's extra sweet, high absorption magnesium helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Feudal, the brand I trust.
Welcome back, America. that one of the great stars in the House of Representatives, a good friend of mine, Byron Donalds. And you know, Byron Donalds, the reason why you've drawn a lot of attention from a lot of people isn't because you're slick, isn't because you want to be on TV or demand to be on TV. It's the opposite, because you're substantive and you came to Washington to do something. So I want to ask you about the border too. When you see that in the House, you're really duking it out, trying to get bills passed to control the border, you did
Primary target is dangerous. Keep it up.
then when you look across the way at the Senate, and you see that the Republican leadership is selling out not just the party, but the American people, not on a serious border bill, but a border bill that would raise a whole lot of money to more quickly process people into the country without vetting them. What is your takeaway from that?
Well, Mark, good to be with you. My first takeaway is this is why we don't listen to the Senate Republicans. This is why House Republicans have done a really tough job and a hard job of trying to find consensus amongst Republicans about what a good border security package looks like. We did that with HR 2. It will protect our nation, and it will also protect these migrants, some of which are sold into sex slavery, some of which are abused by the cartels and by the coyotes. It protects them as well. But what they did in the Senate is, once again, some hand-handed deal that will help the Democrats save face, give Republican leadership an ability to say that they did something, and if it became law, the American people would quickly realize nothing changed, except that the politicians patted themselves on the back. We're just not interested in that, and so that's why our position's been clear that negotiation, they can do whatever they want. But we're going to look at the details. And when the details came out, it was a bill that should never see the light of day.
You know, Byron Donalds, I keep hitting this issue. This is slavery. What's going on the southern border is slavery.
Fucking
whether it's sex slavery, whether people are forced to pay back remittances, that's indentured service. It is slavery. And the Democrat Party is leading it. The Democrat Party is protecting it. The Democrat Party is trying to negotiate to basically keep the status quo with 5,000 illegal aliens coming in every day beyond belief. And the deaths that are taking place in America, the result of what's coming across the border, the drugs and so forth and so on. So once again, the only the Democrat Party stands for slavery. The Republican Party was founded as the anti-slavery party. Why can't it be the anti-slavery party in the United States Senate today?
Listen, that's a very good question. And I think at the core of it, Mark, is this debate that happens in Washington between governing and leadership. And too often, some of my colleagues in the House and too many Republican senators say, well, we have to show we can govern. We have to demonstrate to the American people that we can actually keep the government moving. And that's not what the American people are looking for. We have to demonstrate that we can lead. We have to demonstrate that there are principles, there are some basic bedrock ideals that we are going to fight for, and there are legislative solutions that are going to put our country in the best position possible and put our people in the best position possible. If the Democrats don't want to go along with that, that's their problem. That's not ours. But we shouldn't just be trying to come up with these negotiated governing arrangements so the federal government can remain open. What we should be doing is leading. And my biggest hope is that at some point, the Senate Republicans will join us to actually be leaders in this country and not just capitulate to the Democrats.
Byron Donalds, in return, my question to you is this. Joe Biden does not want to run on his record. Yes. He doesn't want to run on the border. He doesn't want to run on any of this stuff. He wants to run on democracy and freedom. When we come back, can you please tell me what Joe Biden has done, not just as president, but in his entire career in Washington,
Waiting on you, Commander.
to promote democracy and freedom? We'll be right back.
Commencing Alpha Strike.
This is a call to my fellow Americans. To stand up, fired up, and will not let up. Put your foot down and lay down. You're the ones this country needs. To stand up for what you believe in. To wear your pride on your sleeve.
Yep.
This is a call to the ones who put family above fortune. Always have their neighbors safe. Pure Talk, we're a wireless company that champions American values. We'll give you a voice, along with unlimited talk, text, and data, only $20 a month. That's less than a quarter of IC6. The most dependable 5G network. So stand with us, a proud American company that stands up for and gives back to the people who built this country. People who stand for our flag. People who believe in working hard, not working hard. So join your fellow Americans and call Pure Talk to get 50% off your first one. This is your call. It's time to answer.
Menopause. Got your attention? It's more than hot flashes and mood swings. Your metabolism slows down, and you start experiencing hormonal weight gain. And oh, trust me, I know from experience how difficult it can be to lose that weight, especially around. That's why there's complete 50 energy system.
Okay.
Designed just for us that can improve our quality of life during the menopause years and beyond.
Lose weight with Complete 50. Shown in a clinical study to reduce harmful belly fat by 8% in your first month.
Complete 50 is designed so you have more calories and carbs early in the day to get the results you want.
Get fully prepared meals, including hearty inspirations that control your appetite for up to 5 hours.
You can lose weight and improve symptoms of menopause. Feel the difference. Complete 50.
As you wish.
Order now and get 50% off your first week. Plus, get free shipping with promo code FREE.
The war in the Middle escalates. As Republicans face up with the administration, will the crisis ever get under control? The big promise only and Stephen Miller speak out on air.
Your role is to turn these children into spectacles. Not survivors.
You see what good men live in this world?
I've seen destiny.
I want my enemies to see a wave of destruction engulfing the world. Welcome home, Mr. Snow.
There's another long ass display. Engaging jump jet. Reading
Okay.
Work
I know somewhere.
Action. Make a very big difference with the day-to-day mental health. Thank you for your support of the community. It allows our therapy dog program to seniors and youth in need.
Moving out.
Alcoholics Anonymous. We're here to help. For more information, visit AA.org and download the meeting guide.
Congressman Byron Donald wants to continue with the support. Joe Biden claims to be the man of democracy and the man of freedom, and he's going to run on that against Donald Trump and the Republicans. Can you tell me, in his half a century in Washington, D.C.,
Fucking full health on you little
Joe
pricks.
Biden done to promote democracy and freedom?
You know, it's a great question, Mark, and during the break, I was really thinking about that. And to be honest with you, I got nothing.
Shit.
Nada, zero. He's done nothing to promote democracy. The only thing he's ever wanted to do is be elected. And he's been doing that by any means necessary. You have talked about the plagiarism that he's engaged in. This is a man who sided with segregationists in the Senate when he first got to the United States Senate. This is a man who has repeatedly lied while he's in the United States Senate, all to accumulate power. So he's not done anything for America, our republic, or for the continuation of democracy. Everything has been for himself.
And I think about this word freedom. It's funny, it never used to cross his lips. He rarely references the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. And then he runs on January 5th to Valley Forge. He couldn't do it January 6th because of the snow. We all remember what happened at Valley Forge. It was a horrific winter. He's no George Washington. But so he's very schizophrenic. You know, he used to agree with the attacks on George Washington, and then he hides behind George Washington at Valley Forge and talks about freedom and democracy. Can you please tell me, is this a man who believes in freedom or the bureaucracy to tell us what kind of ceiling fans we should have and what kind of automobile we could drive?
Listen, Joe Biden truly is the Manchurian president.
He's not for the American people. He's for the bureaucrats. How do we know? Just look at his presidency. When COVID-19 was still going through the country, Joe Biden was actually spying on Americans, suppressing their speech, wasn't allowing them to share the information they had found, trying to address health needs in the country. When cities and states were trying to open up, Joe Biden used the federal government to keep them from doing so. When we had members of our military who said, I don't want a vaccine, but I want to serve this nation, Joe Biden fired them and sent them home. This is not a man who has stood for America. This is a man who has used America to become president. And it is time that we remove him from that job.
Amen. It's interesting though, this word freedom, this word liberty.
Primary target down.
It's something
Concentrate your
that
fire
you can
and bring it
associate with the Democratic Party. I mean, you can associate words like centralized government, the powerful police state, redistribution of wealth, economic socialism, cultural Marxism. But all of a sudden, he's Mr. Liberty. All of a sudden, he's George Washington without the wing. All of a sudden, he's the guy defending America. Isn't the truth the opposite? And isn't that typical with the left? They project onto you what they actually are and what they're actually doing.
No, that's absolutely correct. And the reason why he has to talk this way now is because the American people still want a country up by and for the people. They want a constitutional republic. They want a secure nation. They want an economy that's growing and thriving. They want poor people to have an opportunity at a better life through work and through merit and through opportunity. That's what the American people want. But when Joe Biden and the Democrats actually explain their agenda, people reject it. When their agenda is on display like it is right now, people rebel and revolt against it. So he can't run on his record. He has to lie, he has to dissemble, he has to project. But the thing that we've seen, Mark, is that this man has basically let Jimmy Carter off the hook. He is the worst president we have ever had. And this cannot be allowed to continue if the American people are going to thrive.
All my friend, I want to thank you. Be safe and God bless you. And take care of yourself.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
This part is never easy, but at least saving on
Commander?
his medication is. Prescription savings made easy. Another good check balance.
That's a kill.
Now, ADT professionally installs Google desktop copies. You're all set. With the most trusted name in home security as the intelligence of Google, you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT.
You've won many hats from past jobs, in fact. Now you can trade in those hats to help earn your grad cap. Your past experience can help you earn your degree faster and
Took a
for
heavy
less.
hit there.
How many times has something broke down, but the right size tool is nowhere to be found? What you need is Red Dog, the amazing universal socket tool that fits, grips, and tightens virtually any fastener. And now may be your last chance to get one before they're gone. Look at all the different sizes and shapes, nuts, bolts, and screws. Any end will do. Red Dog grabs on tight and locks into place fast. It replaces hundreds of different tools, yet it's smaller than a battery. 54 telescoping steel pins mold around any object. Then, up to 150 pounds of torque to knock out rusted
Waiting for
fasteners. Attach the deluxe drill adapter and drive screws into concrete with ease.
Here we
Don't
go.
let a stubborn project ruin your day. Red Dog grabs on tight. Plus, it tackles odd jobs with precision and speed. No more heavy toolboxes or guessing which size to use. With Red Dog, you'll never search or guess which tool to use again. Look, you could use a ton of different tools for this project, but we did it fast and easy with just one Red Dog. Amazing! You could spend over $100 for a socket set, or you can get the incredible Red Dog for just $19.99. But wait, there's breaking news. Red Dog may be discontinued due to rising costs and supply chain shortages. Red Dog is stopping manufacturing immediately. There's a strict limit of 3 per order while supplies last. You still have time to get your very own Red Dog, but you must act fast. Once the current inventory is gone, it's gone forever. The amazing Red Dog. Order now. Call 1-800-513-6323. That's 1-800-513-6323. Or visit my website. 1-800-513-6323. Order now.
That's a vehicle kill.
To Louis Permet, we named him Mando. Why did we create a line for men? Well, we all have the same motor concerns and we all have the same motor needs. What men prefer is stronger scent and more masculine packaging. So we created Mando for men, which is basically Louis for men. The first whole-body deodorant created with 72-hour odor control that men can use on their pets, their package, and their feet. Go Mando and smell better naked from head to toe everywhere.
My favorite thing about being a grandfather, I think, is very grateful at all. They're so balance in nature gives me that extra, I can get through busy times without faith. The other thing I get from balance in nature allows me to live my
Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Order today to get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Fox News.
Affirmative.
Welcome back to America. Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken, the Obama crowd, they're on a suicide mission, not on their own, of course, but they want to drag the state of Israel and the Jews of Israel to their demise. And I'm not kidding about this. I'm going to play for you, and I wanted to save it for the end of this program so we have a little bit of time, a Hamas leader abroad named Khalid Mashal. He's one of the terrorist monster kingpins. And there's a wonderful book called Memory at memory.org, MEMRI.org, and they basically hire interpreters who follow the media over there in the Middle East, and they provide
Fuck, we lost another one.
interpretation so we know what's going on. We have people like this who serve at the State Department, who know all kinds of languages, who transcribe what these people are saying. And even when we have that, given that Biden and Blinken and all the rest of the reprobates in this regime are well aware of what Hamas or the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or Hezbollah in Iran, I want you to think about that when you hear what this man has to say and this so-called two-state solution. Does Joe Biden really support the annihilation of the Jewish state?
Structural damage.
Mark, what are you talking about? Look, he has set policies in place that have resulted in murder, terrorism, that have resulted in what took place in Afghanistan and Ukraine. This isn't a joke. This is real life. You gotta concentrate. You gotta focus on your monitor. I'm on right here. On the English subheadings. Go.
Mission successful.
Excellent.
So first of all, they want nothing to do with a two-state solution. Nothing. Has anybody in the State Department spoken to these people? Or their friends in Qatar, have they spoken to these people? I mean, imagine Israel, if they were to follow this suicide mission, grants the Palestinians, Judea and Samaria, about 30% of their country, their ancestral homeland, to this suicidal maniac. And this is the guy, these are the people who will get elected. There are no modern peaceniks in the Palestinian movement. If there are, who are they? Give us their names. If they are, why isn't Blinken meeting with them?
200K is a good payout. Brings me back to $1 million, I think. Killed in action. I keep getting these fucking pilots killed. Okay.
So it's unacceptable. We demand to be liberated, to get rid of the occupation. That is the annihilation of the Jews. So why do Biden and Blinken and the Democrat Party and the American media insist on helping him? Insist on it. And by the way, some of the left-wing Jewish leadership in Israel, why do they support the destruction of their own country and their own people? Listen to what he says. He represents Iran and Hezbollah and the Houthis, Hamas, the Islamic Jihad, the whole damn bunch of them. Go.
دولتنا اللي هي أي فلسطينية أي
طبعا احنا بالنسبه لموقف حماس وموقف الشعب الفلسطيني في اغلبيته العظمى خاصه بعد 7 اكتوبر اظن تجدد الحلم والامل. فلسطين من البحر الى الماء، من الشمال الى الجنوب.
Look, especially since the genocide of October 7th, we have, and most of the Palestinian people, believe in the river to the sea, the absolute annihilation of Israel and the Jewish people. Why are we providing funds to this entity? Why are we supporting Qatar that supports this lowlife?
وهذا حتى كما قلت اصبح شعار في الولايات المتحده وفي العواصم الغربيه.
And goes on, look, he says, stop. He says, folks, look at the streets of America in the Western Republic. They're saying, from the river to the sea, we're having an influence in America. We're having an influence of Europe. They're with us. The annihilation of Israel, the annihilation of the Jews. While our media sits there and defends Biden and Blinken. While our media uses this jerk's statistics against Israel. While our media promotes this idea, Thomas Friedman and the left in Israel, Lapid and the rest, they want to hand their country over to this genocidal terrorist Nazi and destroy Israel and the people in Israel. No way. Period. No two-state solution, no final solution. I'll see you next time on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Trey Gowdy, and it's Sunday night in America. Donald Trump won New Hampshire by double digits. He won Iowa, and he's leading in Nevada and South Carolina. But his lone remaining rival, Nikki Haley, says she's sticking around. Nevada and South Carolina are up next, and Haley not only knows South Carolina well, she knows how to come from behind and win in that state. In 2010, she was 4th out of 4 when she began her quest for governor, and she wound up winning. This presidential mountain, however, seems tougher to scale. Donald Trump has universal name recognition, a fiercely loyal base, and he's also won South Carolina convincingly in the past. Republicans will have a nominee for president. That much we know. And Donald Trump is the favorite. The real question is whether Republicans can or will coalesce around that nominee or alienate those who support someone else. 7 out of 10 Haley supporters say they would not vote for Donald Trump in November. Half of Donald Trump supporters say they would not vote for Nikki Haley. Can Republicans remain splintered and still be successful this fall? Let's ask 2 experts and friends of our show, Fox News contributor, the handsomer brother Charlie Hurd, and Democrat strategist Kevin Wally. Charlie, Trump says Haley should get out of the race and focus on beating Biden. Haley says, I beat Biden worse than you can. So how long does this GOP primary last?
Honestly, I think that it's going to last probably a few more weeks unless, Nikki Haley really does decide to go all the way to Super Tuesday. But I would imagine that what we're looking at right now is Nikki Haley. She's already put out an ad. She's kind of testing the waters. She's doing some events in South Carolina. And she's going to look at those internals to see whether or not, if she can sort of move the needle inside her own state, then, she'll stick it out. But if she looks at that and the needle doesn't move in this Trump era, it's pretty rough. As you noted at the beginning there, she will be going on a loss in Iowa, a loss in New Hampshire, and a loss in Nevada. And so, the idea of riding in South Carolina and potentially losing your own state by a wide margin is one of those things. It's kind of a career ender. Can be a career ender. It was for Al Gore, for example.
Commander.
And so I would think that cooler heads would prevail before then. But if she decides that she wants, she can close the gap and she thinks she can win, who knows? Maybe we'll see her through Super Tuesday.
Kevin, let me ask about an issue that popped up in the exit polling in both Iowa and New Hampshire. The border and immigration. It seems like it's
I hear ya.
on the minds of some voters, even greater than the economy. I know it's just 2 states, but it's beginning to seem like something of a millstone around Biden's neck, and I don't think the Republicans are going to throw him a lifeline. So how does he get out of this?
Yeah, Trey, it's interesting, and actually you're seeing the issue of immigration and the border rise among Democrats as well, who participated in that New Hampshire primary in the write-in. Listen, I think the president is still hopeful that we'll get some kind of bipartisan deal out of the Senate. You saw some Republican senators come out in the wake of Donald Trump weighing in this past week with issues about wanting to hold on to that issue for November. And I think that actually we could flip the script on Republicans if they torpedo that effort, come November. But to your point, interestingly enough, with the conversation with Charlie, everything that fuels politics and campaigns is about money. And you got Nikki Haley's super PAC, which outraised Donald Trump's super PAC in the last quarter. She got $24 million on the hard side in the last quarter. She up with a $4 million ad campaign. So I think she's in it to win it. And as she kind of reintroduces herself to South Carolina voters in these next couple of weeks.
What do you need? Charlie, let's listen to Nikki Haley together, and then I'm going to ask you a question on the other side.
You can't bully your way through this process. He has 32 electoral delegates. I have 17. You have to have 1,215. There's a long way to go in this race, and we're prepared to do that.
Let me ask you, I thought the former president was collegial after Iowa. New Hampshire was different. There was talk about stolen elections and a shot at Governor Sununu and a comment about Governor Haley's dress and implied threats for her supporters. I mean, I wonder, does the former president know he actually won? I mean, he actually won New Hampshire. Winners tell jokes. They don't make fun of people's dresses. So how does this help win in November to have this still going on between him and her?
Well, I think the thing that, Nikki Haley did sort of ramp up her attacks on Donald Trump that night, which I think is what kind of set him off. She can call it bullying, but Donald Trump can call it winning. Going back to Kevin's point, and talking about how money talks in politics, and certainly it does, and that's why she's still in the race. But Nikki Haley has outspent everybody or all the top contenders in Iowa and New Hampshire, and Donald Trump still beat both of them in both places. So money does talk, but one of the appealing things I see about Donald Trump is that he has sort of reverse engineered the whole money and politics thing. He manages to beat people spending a lot less money and enduring a lot more attacks on him than any politician we've ever seen. And I think that that's a positive direction in our politics in this country.
All right, Kevin, I got to ask you this. Let's assume a hypothetical fact pattern. Former President Donald Trump calls you tonight and says, hey, Kevin, who should I pick for my vice president? What are you telling him?
Well, interestingly enough, I think, Nikki Haley, despite the vitriol that we're seeing on the campaign trail, might make a compelling choice for him because he has to lock up, kind of the more, Reagan-esque wing of that party, right? So in our own Fox News exit polling out of New Hampshire, 35% of Republicans that participated in that primary said that they would not support Donald Trump on the general election ballot. That's a huge issue for Donald Trump, in terms of uniting that party with that.
Excellent. We're doing good.
He gives a nod potentially to, Nikki Haley, to a Tim Scott. I think that would actually benefit him in the long run.
You may be right, but you got to quit calling people bird brain if they're going to be like your right or left-hand person. But what do I know about politics? Thank you guys for coming along. We'll see you next time. It's going to be a fascinating year. Thank you both. You too.
Thanks, Trent.
The Democrat primary in New Hampshire was unsanctioned for reasons that would take way too long to explain. But suffice it to say, President Biden won 64% of write-in votes, and Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips got about 20% of the vote. Phillips, like Nikki Haley, is marching on.
I respect President Biden. My contention is he cannot defeat Donald Trump, and that he's a weak incumbent candidate. The other three candidates, Ms. Haley, Mr. Trump, or Mr. Biden, is bringing
these pilots are really shitty.
Culture wars and hate and fear and the past. And this country's ready for the future.
No.
Joining us now is former presidential candidate Andrew Yang, who is campaigning for Congressman Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us. Congressman Phillips says Biden cannot beat Trump. Nikki Haley says Trump cannot beat Biden. which leaves many of us confused. So who does beat whom in a Trump versus Biden rematch?
Well, Trey, I'm of the viewpoint that whichever party can manage to move on from its 80-year-old incumbent will have a huge advantage in the fall. And Dean is right that the numbers show Joe Biden at a sharp disadvantage to Donald Trump in the swing states. He has a 38% approval rating. He's 81 years old. He's not the right nominee for the Democratic Party, in my opinion, whereas Dean Phillips, 55-year-old former CEO of Talenti Gelato, 3-term member of Congress from Minnesota, second most bipartisan member of Congress, wants to fix the border, wants people to apply for asylum from their country of origin instead of paying the cartel to get snuck in. Very common sense. He's the man to turn the page for both the Democratic Party and the entire country.
All right, you touched on some of it, but I want you to keep going. The differences between President Biden and Congressman Phillips as it comes to policy. You touched on some of them, but what are some others for people who are seriously trying to weigh and balance between the two?
Well, Dean thinks that America has become unaffordable for Americans, and unfortunately, he's right. So he wants to ease the cost of health care, build 7 million new housing units, make vocational schools much more affordable, have baby bonds of $1,000 for every American infant, and that would grow to be a bit bigger by the time you're 18. He wants to give Americans a fair shot. And these are common sense policies that do bring Americans together. He also, again, wants a common sense approach on the border because he thinks this administration is not delivering effective policy, and it's affecting all Americans. I mean, that's not a partisan issue.
You smartly bring up the border. It is on the minds of voters, even more so than the economy in some states. So how would a President Phillips handle the border, and why is border security part of the negotiations? I would think everybody agreed on a secure border, and then we could disagree on other parts of immigration. But why is border security part of the negotiation?
Trey, we all know that our border is not as secure as it could or should be because our political figures don't actually have to solve a problem in order to stay in office. And Dean wants to actually get into the guts of it and senses the legitimate frustration of Americans of both parties that we're not enforcing a border in any kind of effective or modern way. So he wants to include barriers. He wants there to be a buffer zone on both sides of the border. Again, he wants people to apply for asylum in their country of origin instead of having to pay the cartel to sneak you across the border, and then you can apply and then unfortunately get lost in our dysfunctional application system. These are common sense solutions, and it's something that of all parties can get behind. That's the way Dean is. Dean is from a purple district in Minnesota, which is kind of a purple state. He's a modern problem solver and CEO who just wants to get things done.
All right, let me ask you about something else that you would be knowledgeable about, and that's the role that third parties play or may play in the electoral outcome this fall. How do you see that shaking out? Third parties impacting either side in terms of the electoral college, if at all?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of frustration with both parties, Trey, and you can see it playing out in these primaries very, very clearly. I mean, there are a lot of Democrats who are not pumped about having Joe Biden run again, and they're trying to shut down all competition. We're going to see if voters can make their voices heard in South Carolina and Michigan that they want a real competition. But RFK is in the field and is at double digits in some polls. Cornel West, Jill Stein, both running third party. Then there's the no labels effort that we're all waiting to see what that becomes. But I think that two major party candidates could easily see their highest vote total since Ross Perot got 19% in 1992.
Yes, I recall that. We may never have had a President Clinton had it not been for Ross Perot, although Ross Perot's supporters say he took equally from both. I don't know. I wasn't following politics or history closely at the time. I know this. Dean Phillips is lucky to have an advocate like you, and we are appreciative that you would join us on a Sunday night. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Trey. Let's keep this election going. A lot of the country is not that pumped about the rematch of Biden versus Trump. We really can deliver better.
We shall see. Andrew Yang, thank you for joining us. Up next, the state of Georgia versus Donald J. Trump. Just won 12 Daytime Emmy Awards for Best Soap Opera, starring a district attorney and her underqualified boyfriend. But will it actually impact Trump's case? Former federal prosecutor Andrew Joukowsky joins us right after the break, only on Sunday Night America.
Some people just know that the best rate for you is a rate based on you. You don't want to ride with Paul. Get a rate based on you with drive-bys and the Allstate app. One lead works all day, so one keeps looking for the tickets. Just one lead. 12 hours of uninterrupted payment. A lead. Who do you take it for? Fast talk with you, try Mechs.
Providing for your family is a top priority. But what happens when you need affordable health care? Christian Healthcare Ministries can save you up to 40% today. As a member, you can choose your provider without network restrictions. Sign up at your convenience with our anytime enrollment. Join a Christian community that supports each other's medical expenses, offering peace of mind as you prioritize what's most important. Enroll now at yourchm.org.
Everybody talks about how hard it is to get
Save this.
And I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it can be easier. I know it seems like this world's getting more and more out of control, so it's all the more important that we take control of our own lives and our own health. What I do is I pray, and then I take balance of nature, because it's so simple. 3 capsules of the fruits and 3 capsules of the veggies. I'm done for the day. I've been taking it
Excellent.
for 2 years, and I can't tell you the difference.
And we'll definitely catch you guys next time. All right, peace.
Take control of your life. Start with balance of nature. Give it a shot. You won't be sorry. Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Order today to get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement with your first order as a